Noodles and the O-Dog on TSN 1050.
All right, here we go. OverDrive off and running. TSN 1050 on the TSN app, your home smart speaker, up on TSN 4, up on YouTube Live. Brian Hayes, the O-Dog, Jeff O'Neill, and Jason Strudwick joining us here on a beautiful afternoon. How are we doing, gentlemen?
Oh, yeah. We're doing good. How are you guys today?
Doing great. Feeling
Struddy,
great. Positive
Struddy,
Tuesday.
We have to send you out a warning shot, Struddy.
What's coming?
If you want to chirp our team and us, we can't do it right now. We just can't. I mean, tell us we got some players that nobody wants that we're trying to trade, one thing, but just if it's just going to be 2 hours of you belittling us because of our club out here out east, we can't do it. Hazy, care to speak?
I think that's fair. Now, I would suggest the Oiler fans need to just relax a little bit. It's not exactly like they're the 78 Canadiens right now, the way they're playing out there either, Strud, right? But it's ugly out here, man. It is a march towards the end.
You know
it's a march towards the end.
Do you know what they're doing right now, Hayes? It's like they're playing short stacked. You're a poker guy, and it seems like when you're short stacked, the guy that's always fat stacking will always find a way to pull a card in the river.
Yeah.
And they're playing hockey short stacked, and it's just they'll find a way to lose the hand. Like they'll just it's amazing. Like remember when Curtis McElhaney made that incredible save against the Pens? It was like their mojo and their excitement and their want toward getting into the playoffs was so great. It was almost like they willed their way to these saves and wins. And when you're short stacked and you've mentally like kind of packed it in, you get rivered every time. And they're just gonna it'll be a 2-1, 3-1 fest where the opposition just finds a goal, finds a power play, and it's like, oh, we lost that one too? Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I know it, guys. Listen, I'm not here to kick people when they're down. I've been down. I've been on some bad teams. You know, I think about my last year with the Oilers. Was it my last year or second last year? We got Nugent Hopkins. So we were bad. The year before that, we got Taylor Hall. Like, I've been there. It's not fun. So it's not fun to kick someone when they're down. I don't feel bad for the Leafs, but I'm trying to help, like everyone, find a way out. Where do you go from here? Because I think we know where they are. I don't think they're a playoff team this year either because just like you talked about, O-Dog, when you're playing and you're down, you're just waiting for something bad to happen. Whereas teams that are rolling, like look at Dallas. They just thumped Canucks last night. Bounces are going off properly. Like one goes off the backboard, hits the netminder, goes in the net. Like
I know.
But when you're struggling, it's the opposite. That's what happens to a team like that, the Canucks. So I know the Leafs aren't quite in that situation. But you know, I think the important thing is where do you go from here? I think these next, whatever days, 4 or 5 days to the trade deadline. Well, I guess we're down to less than that. But whatever the days are, I think these are pretty big ones for his organization to figure out the course.
But Struddy, the one thing, and I don't love using the term when we played, but the days of we're not making the playoffs, everybody better bust their ass, and let's see who wants to be here next year, those days are long gone. I think when these guys get the appetite that it's done, it's like, watch this, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Well, injuries, right? That's
everybody gets shut down.
Jason Strudwick, sore groin. Jeff O'Neill, bad back. How do you determine how bad they are, right?
Well, JT Miller's he's done now today. I think they basically said you can't speak anymore. You're not playing anymore. You're not, and I'm not disputing he's injured, but like Miller's starting to take shots at the Ranger fans, and they lost again last night, and it's ugly. I mean, I am curious what could happen on that front with the Leafs. We've been talking about Matthews for a year and a half. Doesn't look right. Does he need surgery? Now's your time. Don't Santander this thing and get into the offseason and show up in September.
No kidding. Anything wrong? Go get it taken care of.
Down. William Nylander,
shut your groin?
Down.
Yeah,
absolutely. Anything you need done, now's the time because you do have a get out of jail free card right now. It's over. It's done. They have to play the final 20 games. It's not going to be fun. It's not going to it's going to be ugly. Like that game last night was a horrible sporting event.
Yeah.
Like,
Hayes, I can't believe you said that.
Event.
I'm like, I don't really want to like spoil the mood tomorrow and go on there and say, but there was times I was watching it and I was like, what am I watching
really
right now?
Bad sporting event.
Yeah, like it was like
it's not good, man.
No.
It's not good. And Philly's not good. That's the thing. Like they're trying to build it up, the telecast, like, oh, these teams, they need the points. They're not making the playoffs. Neither team's making the playoffs. Neither team's any good. Philly, we knew wasn't going to be that good. They're still transitioning and trying to grow. But for the Leafs, between now and 3 p.m. on Friday will tell us a lot. Everyone's trying to speculate, what does the future look like? Which direction are they going to take this in? How crazy could it get one way or the other? We're going to have somewhat of an indication between now and 3 on Friday, but you also have to be realistic. There's a lot of guys you can't give away. I don't think you could give away Calle Yarncroke and, Steven Lorentz. Maybe Benoit gets you something as a depth defenseman. And again, you're not going to get rid of everybody. That's not going to happen. And there's certain guys you're going to want to stick around with, certain guys you're going to want to commit to in the future. But I don't know if it's going to be as crazy as people want it to be, as crazy as they hope it's going to be. But it's been a tough year. It's been a really tough year. And, you look at the way they're playing, defensively they struggle. There's not a lot of life in their game. They just have to get to the finish line. They've got to get to the finish line, and then you've got to reset. And I think it starts with Matthews in terms of trying to figure out, what this guy's going to be in the future. And I'm not talking about trades or anything like that. But is this who he's going to be the rest of his career? It's possible. He's 10 years into his career. He's on the back nine of his career. That's just the reality. So is McDavid. So is Draisaitl. So is Kucherov. They're on the back nine of their career. Or is there more there? Is the player from 2 or 3 years ago still available to you in some capacity? And if so, how do you figure that out? Is it a new coach? I would think at a minimum you have to do that. If you feel like in the end, a year from now, we got to blow it up, unfortunately, it's just not going to work. And they got to kind of go back to day one of Shanahan with someone that won't be Brendan Shanahan, but the next person's got to come in and say, listen, pain is coming. It's going to take us 2 or 3 years to kind of restock some stuff. You got to give us some patience. Leaf fans are used to that. I was joking on Jay last night. Everyone knows what this is like. If you're a Leaf fan, you've been through this 10 times. No, I know, Hayes,
but if you look at other organizations, how long did the Rangers go between their letters they sent to their fan base? Wasn't that long. They were like, we're going to change some things. We're going to get some different players. What was it, 5 or 6 years later? They sent another one saying, we have to start from scratch because this just – so yeah. It's not just the Maple Leafs that are suffering. It's like
there's
other
a lot
organized –
of teams.
Yeah, there's a lot of teams that don't win. They don't really do a whole lot, but they're just out there and they're in a different market and there's less attention paid to it. So it's not like although you are suffering because it's been so long since there's been a championship here, organizations just have to deal with this, and that's what it is.
Yeah, but you have to have faith that they can figure it out. That's ultimately the transaction between a team and a fan base.
Well, there's a troubling word you just said right there, faith.
Yeah, but you have to, right? And I don't know if Ranger fans have faith. I'm not sure why you should in Chris Drury right now with what's happened with that team the last 2 years. You might have faith that Shesterkin is there. You might have faith that Sullivan's the coach and maybe he can figure it out. Beyond that, I don't know what they have faith in. Here in Toronto, though, you got to pitch to your fans. You got to let them know, this is where we're going. This is why we believe it can happen. This is why you got to trust that we're going to get it done. And I think we'll get some answers on Friday. Doesn't mean it's what people are going to want to hear. And then we're going to hear more, I'm sure, in the offseason, which is going to start in 6 weeks.
Crazy.
That's what's coming.
I mean, you look at it, if I'm the Leafs, I'm probably trying to trade everyone I can. And not because, I'm not saying this out of spite. It's just you've got to get some assets back. And what you're taking apart, it's not like this was an amazing thing. This isn't a team that's gone to Stanley Cup final after Stanley Cup final, right? The pieces haven't fit yet. So I would probably be trying to maybe look to find some new players in return and or draft picks, and then same thing in the summer. You have a bit more flexibility to kind of change this team because they're not fitting together the way they should be. And I know every time I come on the show, hey, as you know, I say this: their back end doesn't work.
It's
do not
move pucks.
It does not work. You need and I know you don't want to hear from me again, but I've watched them this weekend. They do not transition the puck quick enough for those forwards, and you can see it in Matthews and Nylander. Like they want that puck and go. You've got to get guys that can move that puck. I mentioned Shane Gothenburg as an example. It doesn't have to be him. Mm-hmm. So yeah, if I can find a way to move off Carlo
Ekman-Larsson. I mean, Rielly, obviously.
As my brother
they don't
says,
like those guys. They need different style of players to fit with that group. That's what they need.
They never have the puck.
It's like my brother putting, though. He always says it's #double trouble. I can't read him, and I can't putt him. And you would think if they couldn't move the puck up, they would at least be so stingy defensively. It would make you look away and say, oh, at least they're solid in their own zone. Mm-hmm. It's #double trouble because they're so bad in their own zone and they don't move the puck.
Right, but that's part of the problem with it. Listen, I was a limited guy, passing wise, unless I was in practice. But the faster you get the puck out of your zone, the less time you have to spend defending. And so I think there's a quality to that it's we can sit there and defend for 40 seconds, but eventually another good line is going to take us down. So
absolutely,
we got to get that puck out of our zone as fast as we can with some better transitions. I do like, A and B. I like a bit of a heavier player paired with a real good puck mover, so you have a bit of everything on every pairing.
Yeah, and they have just heavy, slow,
and
heavy.
Not in there either.
And even the transition game, like you need to rely on the forwards to contribute in a way. I think it's more on the defense to move it and get up there. But you look at the middle of the ice for the Leafs, it's got to be the slowest in the league by a mile. I can't imagine. I couldn't even name you who would be the second slowest, from Matthews to Tavares to Waugh to Lawton. Like those are three oil tankers, relatively speaking, up the middle of the ice.
There's
they're
not
just
a lot of heat there. And I just speak as a defenseman. I'm not too worried about them.
Never getting past
no. Yeah, and anybody you talk to, like that's playing now or in the game, they're like, you wouldn't believe how fast the game, fast game this, and it's like.
That's Buffalo when you watch them. That's Montreal's flying, man. They're moving, and they can outscore the problems in Colorado, exactly. And yeah, listen, it's this is not a surprise because we've been bracing for this for a while, but it is going to be an interesting few days to see what they can find, because I think it's imperative they bring in picks and prospects. Like you've got to load up your system in a way, and you've got to give yourself some ammo to do something if you feel need be come the summer. But that was another tough game, and Leaf fans I think understand that. Like you're bracing for it. We'll see what comes of it the rest of the way. Like we're closing in on the deadline, and there's a lot of rumors out there. Like it sounds like Robert Thomas is going to move from St. Louis. It might be Buffalo, which would be a great story. It'd be interesting to see Buffalo do that because this is their first year in the dance. And for that.
Well, let me ask you this, Brian: if they add Robert Thomas going into the playoffs, the Buffalo Sabres are what?
I'd still say they're fighting for, in my opinion, the third best odds to win the East, which is still worthy of going for it. It means it's reasonable to expect it could happen. Like they've been getting great goaltending. Everything's come together. When you go on a heater like this, everything's coming together. I think Tampa and Carolina deserve the benefit of the doubt based on their pedigree, their history, their coaching. But is Buffalo better than Montreal, Detroit, Pittsburgh, the Islanders? Yeah, I think you can make that case. Yeah, I think you can make that case.
And we talk about that compare that group of D Sabres to the Leafs, the way they can move the puck, led by their captain, Dahlin. Like he can really move the puck. They've got a lot of guys who can move that puck, and those forwards love it.
Yep.
My question is this for you guys. This is one better for Craig Button. Why is St. Louis so hot to trade Roberto Thomas? What are they like?
I said the same thing yesterday. It's like they're so horny to get rid of this guy, and as an other team, there has to be something where you're looking at it saying,
I agree.
What are we missing here? We got to do a deep dive into why they're so fired up to get rid of this guy, because maybe there's something we don't want to find out. I've always loved the kid. I thought he was a great player. He was a part of their championship team. He's strong as an ox. He can make plays. But Why is he the guy they pinpointed that they want to move? And I want to find that out ASAP.
Because it was Kairu's name was always, and also last a while it's Thomas. And I'm like, what is going on here? Like, this guy's a pretty good player.
Yeah.
And not a bad cap hit. Like, his cap isn't crazy, considering where we're at in terms of the salary cap.
I guess it comes down to St. Louis maybe just acknowledging that everything's out, and that's a 3 or 4 or 5 year plan. You know what I mean? Like, there's different plans for every team. Why you'd move off a guy like that. It sounds like Binnington, his name could be out there, and we'll see. Again, cap hit and the way he's played this year, I think St. Louis would trade him in a heartbeat. I'm sure they would if they could get a good deal for him. But, Buffalo, the idea of a team, because a lot of times teams, when they first make it, they ease into it, right? It's like, looking for a fourth-line depth veteran guy, or maybe a depth on defense. We don't want to get crazy because we're not sure we trust what we see. It's like where Buffalo, if they buck that trend, I will give them a ton of credit because I think what they'd be thinking is the door's open for us. And we have a difficult time acquiring pieces to Buffalo. It's tough. Free agency isn't what it once was in the NHL. There aren't a lot of guys who get there. Those that do, a lot of money out there. They're going to pick Buffalo? Maybe not. So if you feel like you've got the pieces to pull the trigger on that deal, and there's your guy who you can team up with Thompson, and you're maybe going to re-sign Tuck, and you got that defense core. Alex Lyon's been unbelievable. All right, go for it. That's their plan. They're not going to ease into it. Like, I'm curious what a team like Montreal is going to do, or Detroit. Like, Detroit's going to make it for the first time in a long time. Is Steve Yzerman going to take a huge swing?
Well, remember last year, Dylan Larkin had some comments saying, well, kind of, we were like,
and the wheels fell off. Exactly. Yeah. So, but I think the natural viewpoint of most GMs is to be conservative. Like, let's get to the playoffs first. I don't know if we can win. Let's make sure they've got what it takes to win in the playoffs, et cetera, et cetera. Buffalo may say, screw it, man. We're going for the first time in 14 years, and we're going to party. Like, we're going
has that
for
history.
it here.
Right? Remember when he was with Columbus? That year they won. I think they beat Tampa that year. They had the option to trade away, I think, Panarin and Bobrovsky. Instead, they added.
Right.
And I think that's the year they won one round. I might be wrong,
Matt Duchene, they went out and got. He left.
It was insane.
Yeah.
Insane that he did that. But he has a history of being aggressive. And fan bases love that, man. Let's go all in. Let's go all in. So
they're jacked in Buffalo, man.
Why not?
Back in the day, was there ever a tweet out there from a Pierre LeBrun or Darren Dreger or a CJ saying, this particular organization is kicking tires on Jason Strudwick?
You know what?
Was that tweet ever sent?
No. Yes. So, what was that guy's? He played in Brian Campbell. Remember, he was in Buffalo?
Yes.
And I was playing for the Blackhawks. And I thought Campbell's a really good player.
Really good skater.
And a reporter came up to me and said, we're here. There's a rumor. Strudwick for Brian Campbell. I'm like, is there another Brian Campbell? I was like, don't make that trade. I didn't want that trade to be made. Like, I was so worried that the trade is going to be happening. We should try to track down, like, who would have been the GM that time in Buffalo. Like, I can't imagine that would even be true. I was like, wow. And I remember I was losing sleep over the fact they'd make that trade because I would go there and they'd be like, yes, we got this big guy. And wait a minute, this guy's not even good.
Right.
Like, I know. I'm not as good as Campbell.
You don't need that deal. You don't want that barometer.
So I lost sleep over. I literally lost sleep not wanting the trade to happen, man.
That's so good. Yeah, he was in Chicago, I think, too, at one point.
So he ended up going to Chicago, but not via trade for me. Thank God.
Signed as a free agent, I think.
There you go.
They'd be talking about, like, the same time when Cam Neely got traded for, I forget the player's name.
Right.
Like
the Campbell curse. Campbell for Strudwick.
I don't want that attached to my name forever. My poor kids. That's his legacy.
You don't need that. No one needs that. I love that. Trying to veto a trade that may not actually have ever been close to happening.
I'm not reporting.
Not reporting.
I'm quitting.
Not doing it. Cancel it. Call the NHL. Not going to happen. Well, we'll see. I mean, again, it sounds like it's a buyer's market. That's how it's being defined which, of course, the Leafs, it was always a seller's market when they were buying, and now they're selling, and it's a buyer's market. It's just so typical that would be the case.
What's up with Bobby? Is he staying?
Well, McMahon, so, people have noticed, and myself included, if you watch, he's kind of in a rut. He's not doing much right now. But I think that's understandable for a guy that's dealing with rumors and a contract for the first time in his life. he was in the East Coast League 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden he's on trade boards and TSN and everyone's talking about him, and maybe Bobby McMahon's going to go to a cup contender and sign a deal, or he could stay in Toronto for $5 million a year. I'll bet you that guy's head is spinning. Like I'm always fascinated by that, how scouts accommodate for that. When they're watching a guy, like, is this guy's head in the game or is he in the clouds? And we can deal with that because once you acquire him, his head will be straight again. But he hasn't been great. The truth is, it's tough to watch the Leafs right now and pick out anybody that's been great. Like, they're all kind of in a bad place. Like, there's obviously people disappointed with Easton Cowan and the fact that he didn't play a lot last night, and he's on the fourth line and he's not playing great. You always say it. It's not a developmental league. Like, the guy, it's the NHL. You're not guaranteed 18 minutes just because you're on the team and you're young.
Okay, I've told you this before too. The coach is never going to hold somebody back for playing too good.
Right.
He's desperate. Do you know what I mean?
He's dying for something.
The older I got, the more I realized, because somebody told it to me. They're like, now somebody floated out. I guess I tossed it out when I was younger, and there's somebody said to me, they're like, nobody gets screwed in the NHL by a coach. The coach has to win, and he's going to put the players on the ice that are playing the best. What do you think he's going to say? Look at that guy. He's so dynamite out there. Sit your ass on the bench and see how that feels. It just doesn't happen. Mm-hmm. Even if the guy's a total jerk and you're playing unbelievable, keep going out on the ice. No one sits on the bench for playing too well.
Right. And that's the reality. He's a young kid. He hasn't played a ton. He's trying to find it. I'm sure it's not the most fun room to be in the world right now.
Send him down to the American League.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't let him be a part of this.
Send him down there, let him play, and say, we'll see you at camp next year. That's the play. There must be something that is stopping them from doing that. Something with the Marlies. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I'm not up to date on my, getting through waivers or transactions.
Well, you can go down. I mean,
I know, but
year,
whatever.
I hear you. I'm thinking that at some point that should be the case. Like, just let him play 20 minutes in the minors. Let him get a taste of that and be inspired by it, and come back next year and see what happens. But I don't hold that against Craig Berube. He's a 20-year-old kid. He hasn't been playing great. He's on the fourth line. It's the NHL. You're not guaranteed anything. Like, you got to play, and you got to play well. All right, Craig Button coming up. We got Johnny coming up today. Confirm or deny. We're tracking again the trade deadline. We've got the WBC right around the corner. The Arnie Palmer this week, so we'll have picks tomorrow. Big 2 weeks in golf. The Arnie Palmer right into the players. I love it. It's going to be a great 2 weeks. So a bunch of picks, and we'll get into that. Struddy's in here. The O-Dog. I'm Brian Hayes. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 4.
Noodles and Leafs hockey, Thursday on TSN.
Thursday on TSN 1050. Your Toronto Maple Leafs take on the New York Rangers in their final game before the NHL trade deadline. Coverage starts at 6 p.m.
Matthew scores!
Hear it all on TSN 1050. The Leafs live here. Now, back to OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
Our crack staff behind the scenes, Doogie, sent out a report that CJ has reported even the Maple Leafs could be nosing around for Robert Thomas. That's interesting. So Buffalo possibly will send over a couple first-round picks for Robbie Thomas. How are the Leafs going to come off the top turnbuckle on that one? Any ideas?
Well, it would have
first-round pick in 2037?
Yeah. Or
Nice.
is it Matthew Nyes? Yeah, is it something like that? Are you looking at Nyes, who, has had a bit of a different season, and obviously it hasn't gone well for him? I don't know. I don't know how much faith I would put in that. I'm not suggesting they haven't called or they wouldn't like Robert Thomas, but how does that work with Berube as well? Like, did they work well together? Like, Isn't that ultimately the elephant in the room? Is Berube going to be here next year or not? Like, isn't that where it really has to start?
Dude, when you have expectations and you're supposed to do certain things and none of it turns out that way and you go down a different path, there's going to be – I told you yesterday, Brian, all that we're left with, and you didn't come up with your list. You got lazy. Mm-hmm. All that we're left with is question marks. And you told me you were going to give me the 5 biggest questions in Leafland yesterday.
Well, I'll give you – the number one is
who's
Craig
running
Berube,
the operation?
Is Craig Berube going to be the coach next year? And that, and I guess you could go higher than that. Is Brad Treliving going to be the GM? But if he's not, then why is he running your trade deadline? If you've made that determination, you're going to move in a different direction. That doesn't really seem to jive. But usually the GM sticks around longer, clearly. Usually the GM, has the ear of the president, CEO, the owner, more so than the coach. But, if you're going to move up Berube, what kind of coach are you looking for? What kind of style? Because – there's been reports that would indicate maybe they haven't given him enough to work with. Okay, how much more do you think you're going to get? Like, what do you think they're going to be able to do this offseason? They're not getting McDavid, McKinnon, and McCarr. So what do you think is going to change? Couple different pieces. You could definitely turn over your roster. You can make a couple of trades. But it's not going to be drastically different. And I would suggest they brought in a lot of guys with size, veteran presence that were kind of supposed to be Berube guys. Nick Waugh, Dakota Joshua, that was a Berube guy. Hasn't worked. So that's at the forefront for me. And once you determine that and the style of play you're going to try in the future, then maybe you can start molding your team. But if you're going to stick with Berube and keep building a Berube hockey club, I don't know where else you take it. And what else you can expect out of your best players.
As I mentioned, and I don't want to keep repeating myself, but just so many questions.
Yeah.
About what's going to be going forward. Who's going to be the GM, the coach, the style, different players. What's Austin Matthews think? Like there's a lot of things that need to be answered here after this season is over or beforehand, Brian.
Yes. Well, and maybe our next guest can supply us with a few of those answers. Here he is, our good friend, our TSN hockey analyst. There's Craig Button. Craig, we'll throw that one at you right off the bat. I mean, you've been watching this team. Stylistically, it hasn't worked. It hasn't been a good year, and it's getting worse, and it's going to be a dreadful finish. If the determination is, okay, they have to change like the style of which they play, that's directed at the coach. Do you think that's doable? Is it possible? How much can you change in one offseason to make it feel and look like a different hockey club next year?
Well, let me ask you guys this question: how many what you would call real key difference makers do they have on their team? If you can give me more than 5, I'm interested in hearing who they are.
No,
and if you think you're going to be a contender with 5 guys, you're kidding yourself. This is not a contending team, full stop. They're not going to be a contending team next year. They're not going to be a contending team in 2 years. They got to do what Brendan Shanahan did in 2014. It's got to be a remake. Simple as that. And if they don't address it, it's going to look like the 80s. That's what it's going to look like.
Yeah, that's scary, but I think you're I think you're right, Craig. I mean, that's what's terrifying is that they if they dig themselves further into the hole, it's where are they going? How much worse can it get? But how does that jive with, you mentioned you can't get more than 5 guys who you can pinpoint as impact players. Let's say they have 5. What does that mean for those 5 players? Like Brendan Shanahan shipped out the 4 or 5 impact players they effectively had. Not all of them, but a lot of them. Does that have to happen here in order to commit to the Shanna Plan 2.0?
Well, I think you have to open up your mind to it, Brian. You have to say, hey, listen, are you going to be a contender next year? Are you going to be a contender in 2 years' time? Well, I say that 2 years because that's how many years Austin Matthews has left on his contract. There's nobody in the league that's not going to be interested, or I shouldn't say, very few teams would not be interested in Austin Matthews. He's elite. He's a superstar. So you got to open up your mind to hearing what other teams may be ready to offer you. And understand, too, there's teams that are going to fall short, teams that are trying to move forward. You also have marketing things. You have people, ownership that's saying, hey, we got to sell tickets. We got to give some hope. You got William Nylander in that category. Matthew Knies is a really good, solid player, and there's no question about it. But as we move along there, we name 34, we name 88. Okay, we'll give Matthew Knies. Who else? Who else?
No, you're right. Mm-hmm. Well, Craig, we were talking with this Maple Leafs team and basically the whole season. All it's done to this point has left you with questions about a lot of different things. What would you say is the biggest question moving forward, or the top 2 that need to be answered?
Well, I think the number one thing has to be, and I was listening to you guys as you came in, and I'll just say this, it's who's going to be running your team. Now, you can't go make a change today, Brian, with your manager. Well, maybe you can. But, you expect the manager to do what's right for the team. Full stop. That's his job, and it shouldn't change here. And, I can't imagine that ownership would come to him, or Keith Pelly would come to him and say, hey, listen, you know what? You're done here, but you better do the right things at the trade deadline. You're telling him, you know the team, here's where we're at, here's the direction we're at. The New York Islanders changed their manager after the trade deadline last year, and they did it with Lou Lamoriello. So there's nothing wrong, unless you were going to change your manager long before now. Then Brad Treliving has to go and operate. He has to go and operate with the direction of saying, hey, we're going to move this player, we're going to move that player, and do it with the understanding that that's his objective. So that, to me, Jeff, is the number one thing. Who's going to be here? And then number 2 is okay, what direction do you want to go into? How much do you want to open this up? You're going to have to talk to Austin Matthews. You're going to have to talk to William Nylander. They have no move clauses. And, Morgan Rielly, you're going to have to talk to these guys and understand, okay, how do you feel about this? Be very honest with them. Here's where we're headed. And I think that those are the 2 things that have to happen. Number 1, who's going to be leading the organization? And then you can figure out who the coach will be. You don't do the coach before you figure out who's leading the organization. Number 2, how deep you want to go, being honest with everybody, and then proceeding forward in terms of trying to, if it's not going to be Brad Treliving, finding somebody that's going to come in and be that guy. Those are the questions. And then everything will go from there.
Craig, I'm wondering, that the Leafs arrived in this situation without, a ton accomplished. So would a team or ownership group, whether it's the Leafs or any other team, would they ever sit down and say, okay, what happened? How did we arrive here, and kind of reverse engineer it so they can maybe, not do that same mistake or learn from it, or is it just plow forward?
Never happens, Scotty, before you answer, Craig. Everyone that just comes aboard says, I'll never do what those guys did. We're just trucking forward.
Yeah. This team had a lot of promise. I talked about 2014 when Brendan Shanahan came in and Mike Babcock, and they built it, and they had a lot of promise. And there's no question that they were one of the top contenders. They were not able to achieve when it mattered the most in the Stanley Cup playoffs. I go back to my not my experience, but my father was with Washington Capitals for a lot of years. And in the 80s and the early 90s, they were one of the best 5-6 teams in the National Hockey League. They never could get to where they wanted to get to. They had Hall of Fame players. They had lots of good players, right? And they won, and they made the playoffs every year, and they showed promise every year, and they never did it. And then, at the end of it, David Poile, they made a change in 1997, George McPhee. And what ended up happening? They caught lightning in a bottle. They ended up going to the Stanley Cup final in 98 before losing to Detroit. Now, I think that was, there was a good team there. I don't see that here in Toronto. I think you have to examine, okay, where did we make our missteps in terms of they tried to make moves. They traded for Ryan O'Reilly. They traded for Nick Foligno. They traded for Brandon Carlo last year. Like they were trying. So I think you have to examine it and you have to say, okay, here's what we did right. And we had the pieces, we had the players, and then where did we fall short? And that's not just in personnel. That might be in coaching strategy. That might be in just in terms of who your leadership group was. Did we have enough experience around it? I think it's all those things, Jason. And I think you better do a deep dive on how you found yourself in this spot, because to me, there's no other way for them to go. If you're going to fiddle with the dials, you know what you're going to get. It's like when you're out in the country trying to find that music station, and it's going like,
yep.
And you hear a little bit of music, but you don't get enough of it, and you certainly can't dance to it.
No, you can't, and you're right. I mean, that's where it's at. And I want to get to the bigger picture of Canadian hockey in general, because I think what you just said could apply to a lot of teams in the country right now. But I want to ask you about the Morgan Rielly conundrum here, because he's the longest-standing Leaf. He's a beloved figure in the fan base in the city. Everyone loves Morgan Rielly. Everyone feels like they know Morgan Rielly, which is a rarity with this team because they're not exactly the most transparent team. The personalities aren't exactly over-the-top, exuberant. Now, I would say he's gone into more of a shell the last couple of years than where he was early in his career. But he is really struggling. I mean, that Cates goal last night, I have no idea what he was doing on multiple occasions. I have no idea what he was doing. In terms of the gap control, he gets pushed into his own goalie. Then he's in no man's land. It was wild to watch. He made 3 different mistakes on the same goal, and he's a veteran of the league. He's got 4 years left after this, $7.5 million per. How do you handle this? Like, whether it's tree living or the next guy, the Morgan Rielly situation's waiting for you. How would you handle it?
Well, I'm going to use a very recent example. You deal with it like the Chicago Blackhawks dealt with Seth Jones. And I think that Morgan Rielly is going to have to take some initiative there and say, hey, a change is going to benefit everybody here. It's going to benefit me. It's going to benefit the organization. And Morgan is, to your point, is quality, right? Change the scenery now, I think would be the best thing. When Seth Jones got traded to Florida, there was kind of the eyebrows raised. Oh my God, can you believe they're getting him? Well, yeah, I can believe they were getting him because they saw that a change, give him some different direction, have him around some different coaching. I mean, I really think that Sylvain Lefebvre is one of the best defense coaches in the National Hockey League. And, go back and look at who he played for, Jacques Laperriere, Pat Burns. He knows what it takes, and a really good. So internally, you start to look and go, okay, what do we need to do to get Morgan Rielly just steady and consistent? And I think he can be that. So I give you the Seth Jones example as something that I think can work really well for Morgan Rielly. But Seth took control too. Seth said, hey, I need a change. And I'm not saying that Morgan should say that, but I think it would be right. And I think that, being honest with him and him being honest with everybody would help the process move forward.
Yeah, with Craig Button, and you're talking about the Leafs and retrospective analysis and looking back on what went wrong more than what went right. And it's interesting when you take more of a macro view of the whole country. The last decade you've had Quinn Hughes. A decade ago you had Erik Karlsson, Mark Stone in Ottawa. You've had McDavid, Draisaitl. You had Matthew Tkachuk, Gaudreau, Markstrom in net in Calgary. Giordano, exactly. You've had Hellebuck, arguably the best goalie in the world the last 5, 6, 7 years in Winnipeg. The core 4 here in Toronto. And nothing. I mean, 2 Cup finals to show for it. Edmonton both times in the last 2 years. I remember having conversations with you, Craig, and we would have him on our show all the time 2, 3, 4 years ago thinking this is This is the golden era of Canadian hockey, or at least it almost felt like we're back in the 80s when we were winning cups collectively as a country. And it's just all fallen apart, or a lot of it.
Wasn't too long ago, Hayes, I think Calgary won the Pacific Cup.
That's right.
3 years ago, 4 years ago.
Right.
And
I
now
think they're
it's
top
50
seed in the
wins.
West.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's scary, man.
Well, it might be Montreal. It might be Montreal, and they made, think about that. They went to the Stanley Cup final in 21. And that was a different time with the pandemic and whatnot. But, they made the decision, and Jeff Molson made the decision. He said, this ain't working. And he brought in Jeff Gorton, and they proceeded. Now, they had some players in place. They had drafted Caulfield. They had traded for Nick Suzuki, so they had some players. And then Jeff and Kent Hughes came in there along with Marty St. Louis, and they've moved this team forward in a real significant manner. And I don't think anybody would look at the Montreal Canadiens and not say that they're not on the upswing. The Ottawa Senators, maybe similar. They got, goaltending has kind of undermined them this year to a great extent. I think they're really well coached. I think Travis has done a really good job in Ottawa. So it may be shifting to other teams now. Winnipeg is a team that we're sitting here going, like, what happened there? They still have lots of good players. I think it's going to be a real summer of work for Kevin Cheveldayoff to show that this was an aberration, and that what they were last year was closer to what they are. Edmonton, hey, listen, we know the window they're in. Hey, listen, they should be contending and doing everything they can do to contend for the next 3 years, this year and the next 2. Vancouver, Toronto, Calgary, I think they find themselves all in the same boat in terms of, like, it's new times, and they're going to have to be looking into the future, much into the future.
Yeah, that is for sure. We're looking into the future as of Friday, Trade Center. It's going to be a fun one, Craig. We'll see you. We can't wait to get into Studio 6. There's going to be a lot of activity, and, again, a lot of Canadian teams on either end of the spectrum on that. So we'll catch you Friday. Always great having you on. Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, thanks. I see that Mike Johnson coming up. I hope he's wearing his toque that he wore last week from Milan. That was a hell of a look from Mike.
I hope so, too. You never know what you're getting out of him. Right, he's stylish. He's European ever since being over there. So we'll see what Johnny brings to the table. Thanks, Craig.
Okay, we'll see you guys. Thanks.
There he is, Craig Button, joining us. Well, there you got your answers, right? Who's running the team? After that, what direction you're taking it in terms of the coaching, in terms of, are you going to blow it up or not?
Yeah, well, that's the thing, Brian. It's who's running the team, but the thing is, who is running these questions by the next person that's running the team, if that's in case is the scenario? Like, is it Keith Pelly? And that's what I don't understand. How does Keith Pelly know what needs to go into a hockey organization?
Well, he doesn't have a history of it, clearly. He's a business guy.
I know.
He's a marketing
he came from
guy.
a DP World Tour. How is he going to give directions to somebody in hockey saying this is the direction and this is what you need to focus on as far as an NHL team? I don't care how smart the guy is. I don't care how many businesses he's been in. It doesn't make you a hockey expert because you were a smart guy and you've ran a bunch of important things.
No, that's true. I would argue it's the guy above him that's been in sports more than Keith. Like Rogers owns the team and they own the Blue Jays. They've they've been in sports a long, long time.
Yeah.
Right. And ultimately, it's their call. Like Pelly's got to go up too. Pelly's got to pitch to a board, hey, this is where, especially with the crown jewel and the Leafs, because there's a weird vibe in the city right now. Again, it's just
no kidding. Don't forget Keith Pelly's comments as soon as he took over and fired Channy. He's like, our only goal is championships.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, now you're one of the worst teams in the league. So how do you explain that?
Right.
But don't you think the GM, whoever it is, whether it's Brad or someone else, they have to present their plan to Pelly and company? I think you got to say, this is what I want to do.
Of course. But Strud, the question is, do you believe, let's say it's in Tree Living's best interest to say, I got this all wrong, right? Like, I know what I told you last time we met, because I had to pitch it to you 12 months ago that we'd win, right? Get rid of Shanny. I could take care of it. Marner's gone. It doesn't matter. Me and Craig are going to get this thing right, and we're going to win this year. And then they have the most disappointing season they've had in over a decade. Can he go back in and say, my bad, but we're going to blow this thing up. Give me 5 years. I don't know.
5 years is a long time.
That's
a long time.
That's what's scary about it, and no one wants to address the elephant in the room, is that might actually be the best course of action. And it would be very difficult, and that's what sucks, is it's been a decade of, positivity for the most part. Yes, they've had crushing losses in the playoffs.
Yeah, been a real good team for 10 years.
Yeah, and now
they have,
it's maybe, like the Panthers, that Game 7 was kind of the death blow of the era. It very well could have just, that's the
looking
death blow.
back. But imagine that, how hard it was to acquire Matthews, Nylander, Marner, like how hard it was to get to.
Because you know why it's hard, Struddy? Because moving forward, you draft these guys and there's no guarantees they turn out.
And they don't even have their pick, guys.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's the thing. They don't have their pick this year. The Phillies got their pick next year, I believe it is. That's the
Phillies.
problem. For Lawton. They traded a first for Scott
They're the
Lawton.
Flyers. They're the
Flyers.
Yeah.
Philly. What did I say?
You said the Phillies.
Yeah,
Oh,
Phillies.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't matter. They don't have it. But that's the problem. So how do you turn this thing around with that? You've got to draft like crazy with the small draft picks you have, or find free agents who can stay with it. They can fill this gap.
Yeah.
It's
Tough,
a tough man. You guys are depressing me.
No,
You're making me depressed
I don't
about
want
the Leafs.
to. Let me be clear. It's the last thing I don't want to be in this era. It sucks. It's awful with what's. But Craig just laid it out. Like there's not a lot of impact on this team. There's not a lot going on. They have no prospects, no pegs. Free agency is only so much. Trading, you can't just make up trades. They don't happen a lot in the league. It's not the 80s and 90s anymore. You can make a 10-player deal or whatever. You can't just pay anyone any kind of money.
Yeah, and Hayes, God forbid you're moving away from players that you paid first-round picks and prospects for. Like, what would you get for Brandon Carlo right now on an open market? Connor Murphy, like, Struddy, you're a defenseman. Would you say Connor Murphy would be in higher regard in the National Hockey League over Brandon Carlo?
So a second rounder, they're probably the same. I think Carlo.
No, I'm just asking about Connor Murphy and Brandon Carlo. Would you say Connor Murphy would be held in higher regard?
I'd say they're at best equal, right? I think they're at best equal.
Okay, well, that guy just went to Edmonton for
Carlo's
a second-round pick.
Yeah, Carlo's younger and he's got a year left. So maybe you get a first. You're not getting the equivalent of first of Edmonton, though. Like, that's not going to happen.
No, that was a dear price to pay.
Yeah, that one stung. And it's Boston. And now if they keep sinking, they might hand over the 7th, 8th, 9th pick in the draft. It's tough. Yeah, it's a tough one right now in Toronto. Mike Johnson coming up. Confirm or deny coming up. OverDrive continues up on YouTube Live.
Back to Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
Guys, heading into the trade deadline, I have a good motto for the Maple Leafs. My Uncle Ted gave it to me on this picture. It says, Jeffy, buy low and sell high.
Yes.
Never forget that. Uncle Ted, look how good looking that guy is.
Wow, look at Ted.
Dude, he's a stud.
Looks
Walks
amazing.
10,000 steps every day. Gorgeous guy. Love him.
Awesome.
Buy low,
Yeah.
sell high.
When did he sign that for you?
I bet you Uncle Ted signed that for me 20 years ago.
Nice. Was that standard procedure for Uncle Ted? He'd hand out pictures of himself and sign them?
Well, no, he autographed it for me because I've given him a bunch of
I
autographed
see.
pictures.
Okay. I love that. That's great.
What did you
Uncle
write
Ted.
on yours?
Well, just whatever. It's like, thanks for everything. I don't know, Strutty, you idiot. It's
Shoot
a
your
hockey
shot.
pitch.
Shoot
Yeah.
your shot.
Yeah.
Oh, dog. Nice.
It's not like I'm going to say that to my Uncle Ted. Hey, Uncle Ted, shoot your shot.
Right.
Right.
It's just like best wishes or whatever.
Mine was always dream big. I'd write to whatever, Jeff. Dream big, Strutty.
Why not
No,
just
I liked
hashtag off the glass, Strutty?
Yeah. Clear the
Paid
front.
the bills.
Yeah.
Love that. Love
Clear
that.
the front. Never mind, follow your dreams. Clear the front.
Clear the front. That's
I might use
a
that one.
message.
Yeah,
Dude, that's got to be your signature strut.
it is, dude.
I might use that one.
Clear the front.
Dude, don't
Strutty.
even sign it. Just write clear the front 44 or whatever your number was.
BC
Brilliant.
Hockey Hall of Fame. Boom.
Yeah, brilliant. All right, Mike Johnson coming up. You got the Raptors, Knicks. Man, the Knicks they beat the Raptors every single time they play. But tonight could be the night. I've said it a lot. Tonight might be the night.
It isn't,
for
dude.
Raptors.
The last time you took the Raps against the Knicks, I said, don't do it. They're going
And
to
the
get
Knicks
squashed. And they
destroyed them.
did.
Beat them by like 30. It destroyed them. So more on that into the next hour. Overdrive continues up on YouTube Live.
This is OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog on TSN 1050.
Hour 2 OverDrive continues, powered by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. Brian Hayes, the O-Dog, Jeff O'Neill, Jason Strudwick up on YouTube Live, the TSN app, tsn.ca. Confirm it tonight later in the hour. Mike Johnson coming up. Oilers Sens tonight. And it feels like in the East, it's only Boston that, and again, things can change. You still got 20 games left to play. But it feels like Boston's the one team that might still be kind of catchable. Detroit's been good. Montreal's been good. Tampa's been good. Buffalo's been good. So if Ottawa's going to make something happen, they kind of got to take advantage of this Western trip here. And they've played well. The Oilers have not, Strud. They have not played well. And
let's ask Struddy. Me and Hazy think the goalies in Edmonton stink, and they're not making saves. But Noodles oftentimes defers from that and says the guys that are playing in front of him, the Strudwicks of the world, are not getting the job done. How do you weigh in on that? Because I watch that, and I know I'm a goaltender hater. They're not making saves out there. And I do understand that those defensemen are going out there, and they are playing like they have no clue what the hell's going on. They have no clue that there's a score clock out there. It's like beer league shinny at Westwood Arena. So you break that down for me. What is the problem with keeping the puck out of the net in oil country?
The problem is their defensive awareness and intention. They, as a group,
Jason,
they don't have,
those are veteran guys, man. So
that's exactly
explain it to me.
So we know that this core can do it because they've gone on incredible runs of defensive hockey, right? Incredible runs. And I'll include the penalty kill in that, right? They've had some of the same people killing penalties doing a really good job. This year, their defensive posture hasn't been there. It's come and going. And same on the penalty kill. The penalty kill, I want to say, around Christmas was, near the middle of the pack. Well, now it's the bottom. I think it's 25th or 26th. That's why they make a move for Connor Murphy. So yes, there are some situations where the goalies can be better, but the goalies never know what's coming. It's 2-on-1s, it's breakaways, it's backdoor tap-ins. All hell's breaking loose out there. There's no consistency of what they're seeing. So I place this firmly on the skaters, and I include the forwards in this. The centers, the wingers, and the D can all be better. The problem is I can't say it's this guy or that guy. It's all of them. They all make they're just lackadaisical. And what happens, now they got to try to score 4 or 5 goals to win a game, and that puts a lot of stress on your top players trying to score.
Right.
Why not just win 2-1? Let them score 2 goals and then lock it down. So until they get that attitude, it's going to be tough.
Well, there's 20 games left. That's the crazy thing. We've seen it the last 2 years, but they've played a lot of hockey too, man.
Tons.
A lot of hockey. Look at Florida. Florida's done, and I think we kind of knew that when Barkov got injured and Kachuk hadn't started the year. Bob looks like Vasilevsky did 2 years ago. Just too much hockey, man. You can't ask a goalie to play that much in 3 years and think he can just keep going. And Bob's wheels have fallen off. And, I wonder about that in Edmonton. If it's just, people yelling and screaming, Nurse has got to do this, and Ekholm's got to do that, and Connor and Leon. It's asking a lot, the amount of hockey they've played. Joining us now on the Maple Toyota Hotline, here's our TSN hockey analyst, Mike Johnson. Johnny, where do you stand on the Edmonton Oiler conundrum right now?
They got a lot of issues, and a lot of issues can be made up by the 2 superstars, but it's easy to point to the goalies. It's easy to point to the defense, but I watched their games. I just did a game this weekend versus San Jose. Their forwards are hanging people out to dry every single game.
So hang on a sec. It's not the goalies.
Thank you, Johnny.
Hang on a sec. It's not the goalies. It's not the D. It's actually the forwards now.
No, Jeff, listen. It's not just the goalies or just the defense. It's all of them.
Okay.
Right? It's not – it's easy to say. You could bring in Binnington, Saros, whoever you want to Edmonton. They play like that in front of anybody, they're going to get scored on. It's ridiculous how poorly they're playing in front of these guys. And I think that's everyone on the ice thing, not just the defensemen. aided by Connor Murphy, or the goaltenders. I'm not saying Jari's been good. He's been terrible, but he hasn't been helped at all by the guys in front of him.
Johnny, would you think it would be insane if they contemplated another coaching change? Is that insane?
Well, I mean, nothing's insane, I guess, though, right? Like, they do anything that they think it takes to make them better, because they have this year and 2 more years. And beyond that, that's why you kick the can, you give up second rounders in 28. Who cares? Like, at that point, like, it doesn't even matter right now. They're so focused on the next 2 years. So if they think it's the coaching, then yeah, you make that change. I don't know, though, because you look at certainly early days when Knobloch took over his first year, like, their underlying numbers, super strong across the board, offense and defense. So it's not like he hasn't coached this kind of group with really good results. So I would have a hard time understanding why he couldn't get it out of them. Although, unless the roster is so different now that he can't draw it out of them in this roster, which is more a roster thing than a coach thing.
Yeah, now is it the GM? Like, where can we stop? It feels like the amazing thing is they're in the playoffs. They're in the playoffs,
but they're not even. Are they not?
They're barely
in
their wild card spot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that is what's more dangerous, is because the Pacific, you get Anaheim in the first round, you're going to feel comfortable. It doesn't guarantee you'll win, but I think you'll feel comfortable. That'll feel like a Kings kind of let's get the feet wet type of start to the playoffs. But if you play Colorado in the first round, now you're asking for big trouble. Because even if you miraculously get through them, then Dallas or Minnesota are waiting for you. And it's not going to happen. Like, the way this Edmonton team is built and the way they're playing, and so they're playing with fire, man. Like, they are definitely playing with fire in Edmonton.
Yeah, you definitely want to stay in the Pacific bracket, right? At all costs, stay in the Pacific bracket. Wild card 1 is like the most luxurious bottom feeder spot you can get in the entire NHL, and they are tied with Utah, although they played 1 more game. So I guess they would be against Colorado if it ended today. Scary stuff. I mean, Strutty, you're out there all the time. It's fascinating. Like, we said it when they made the trade for Jari. You're hitching your 2 discounted McDavid years to Tristan Jari.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big risk for a guy who was in the minors last year. Yes, I know he played better this year, but he was in the minors last year. And so that's a big risk. The same problems exist. Like, they don't have the depth in scoring. It's been an issue all year. It seems to be an issue every year after year. They have superstar players that are incredible. They have a power play that scores, right? Last 10 games, I read 44 goals for. Brilliant. 4.5 a game. How do you lose? They've given up 46, which is mind-blowing in today's NHL. So, but when you watch them, and I don't know if they'll have, I think, what is it, Ottawa playing them tonight? Like, maybe they'll be better, but they just give up so much off the rush, breakdowns in front of their own net. And it is not just the depth guys. Like, the weekend, Strutty, against San Jose, Connor was on for 4 goals against, I think.
Yeah.
Yes, he had 3 points, but you got to do it at both ends. You have to, and they're not.
Johnny, if you were asked by Keith Pelly or someone higher up to be an advisor in fixing what's going on with the Maple Leafs, give me the 3 things that you would do to advise.
I think I would bring another hockey voice in as a president. Maybe it's Jeff O'Neill.
They just had
Maybe
one.
It's Jason Strudwick. Yeah, but they fired him, right?
Okay.
Like I think they fired him. Somewhat for power, somewhat for money. I think a little bit of both. Like, I don't think they didn't need him. I think it would be good to have another voice up there, that a hockey voice. Then you make a determination on the general manager, and then you have to look at your team and say, okay, are we going to be good enough with these players the next 2, 3, 4 years? And if so, how do we play with these guys to maximize what they're good at? And I think they've gotten further and further away from what they were really good at in an effort to be what they were perceived as not, which is tough in the playoffs. And I think those are the 3 things. Hire that guy, figure out what the GM is and the direction of the team, and then make the team more conducive to highlighting the best players' attributes in the way that they play. while playing a winning brand of hockey. I think that would be the goal. Now, it's not easy. Like, if you have to change the team over, that's easy. Deciding the GM and hiring another one if you have to, or trailing still, that's easy. Revamping the roster, that's harder. And because it's pretty significant at this point, because they're so far down the road of this dump and change team. You can watch them yesterday against Philly. Like, I know Philly plays a pretty trappy game.
It's awful.
That first period, guys, was awful. I think they carried it in 3 out of 20 times in the first period. 3 out of 20. Like, you're making Willie Nylander go chase the puck and John Tavares and Austin Matthews. 85% of the time, you're going to say, go get it. Go hit someone, go get it. Like, yes, you have to be able to when it's appropriate, but that can't be your first option. That can't be the way we're trying to play the game, to ground and pound with those guys, because that's Dakota Joshua's game. That's not those guys' game. And what you're going to win or lose with is the guys at the top, not the guys at the bottom. Cater the system to the guys at the top. Oh, that's something along those lines would be how I would approach the deadline, because you might be getting players with an eye to what they will look like next year and then on through the summer.
So let's just look at the deadline. You know, from a distance, I've watched the Leafs a ton, and I have a mindset of what I think they should do. How would you approach? You're the GM, and there's no question you are. So what are you going to do? Are you unloading casually? Are you being aggressively unloading? Are you status quo? What are you doing here, MJ?
Well, why don't you tell me what you're going to do, and I can poke holes in that. That's way easier.
Okay. Yeah. So
what are you doing, Strud? You're the GM. He's the president.
Okay, so what I would do,
That's
right.
right.
I'm pretty busy coaching U13 hockey, but I'd find some weekends to come out to Toronto and help out.
Clear the front.
Yeah.
Hashtag.
Thanks. So this is what I would do. This group isn't getting it done. So I'm not really keeping any of those guys I would call on the side outside of my core group. I'm looking at Matthews and Nylander. I'm unloading anyone I can. If that includes Carlo, I'll be like from Larson on the back if I can move Art Morgan Rielly. Not because I don't like him, it's just that it's not working. And I'm trying to change the back end, a little bit more puck moving. Then up front, same thing. It's great. McMahon is a good story. I'm moving him out. I'm trying to get assets. So I'm unloading, creating space, creating some assets I don't have because what I'm having isn't working. So what am I saving here would be my point, MJ.
I mean, again, I think the president's boss might say, well, you're saving potential home dates for next year, right? This idea that financially it might matter, which we don't think about, right? Like, we think, like, what's best for the team, not what's best for the bottom line. Struddy, we're in lockstep. You can come work for me anytime, because I am absolutely saying they should be aggressive and don't be shy. And yes, I get Bobby McMahon's a good story, and you might need his 25 goals next year. But what makes Bobby McMahon so good is he makes $1.3 million. Bobby McMahon at $5 million isn't nearly as good for the Toronto Maple Leafs as he is at $1.3 million. Right? You got to go find the next Bobby McMahon. That's what you need to do, as opposed to re-sign Bobby McMahon, a 30-year-old, to a 5-year, $25 million contract. Yes, on Carlo. Yes, OEL, he's been so good. If we're talking puck movers, you might want to keep him around. But if you get good assets for him, yes, because what you want is change and flexibility for future change. And that means cap space. That means draft picks. That means currency that aren't just the players in-house. I'm with you 100%. And then this one I'd ask, I keep hearing about the conversation with Morgan Rielly can't happen this week. And I'm going to ask you, why not? If you're going to have it in July, why not have it now? If you're going to come to him in April and say, listen, we got to look to trade you. Why can't, even if you can't pull it off, how come they can't have that conversation now? I know it's hard. I know he's been a loyal Maple Leaf and incredible. We all like him for all those reasons. But, like, if you're going down that road, why can't you do it today? Even though it sucks for him.
Agree.
If you're going to do it anyway.
I bet you if you had a candid moment with Morgan Rielly, he'd say it's time for me to go play somewhere else. And as far as the Toronto Maple Leafs, and I'm not talking about treating people like garbage, but you've seen in the past with different organizations, whether it be the New York Rangers, like, if you want somebody out of that locker room, you can get them out of that locker room. So it's tired of the asking and stuff like that. Like, you talk about the construction of the roster, Johnny. Like, there's a lot of things that are not clicking right now. So it's time to get down and dirty.
That's what they did when Shanahan arrived. Like, they were ruthless.
Yeah,
they fired
exactly right.
a ton of people, and they told
exactly
players,
right.
you don't play anymore.
Yeah,
You're
and
not
you can be
playing.
on one end of it, Brian. You can hand out the cash because guys make a lot of money. You score 20 goals. Okay, here's a 6-year deal at $6 million. But on the flip side of it, if you want to move bodies out, you have got to be ruthless. With the same idea, I hope they would keep the philosophy of treating people with respect. But sometimes, like you saw with the New York Rangers, you don't want to go. Well, you are going, because we don't want you here. And it's a difficult thing in the business. How many guys like Pettersson just sign the ticket and then say, watch this, check this out.
Right. But like the other one that, doesn't talk as much is Ryan McDonough in Tampa. They said, we have a trade for you. Either you waive your no trade or putting you on waivers, and Columbus is going to claim you. So you can work with us on a trade, or you can go to Columbus. Those are your two options. And he said, okay, I guess I'll work with you on a trade. I'll go to Nashville. And then he ends up back in Tampa afterwards because you can be respectful, and these guys have no move protection. You work within the boundaries of what is permissible by the CBA. But yeah, like if you want to encourage a guy and you don't want to do that to Morgan Rielly, you have the conversation, Mo, listen, work with us. Let us know where you want to go. We'll try to find something if it's him. And if he doesn't, then say, you don't get to play. And that's going to encourage you to open up your horizons of where you might want to go. And it's tough, but it's how you have to do it. And I think you can do it respectfully, but it's what you have to do.
Johnny, why is Robert Thomas available?
I mean, I think St. Louis struggling is one of them. I know, but it feels like with his talent and that contract and that term, you're like, that would be a guy you probably want to keep around, right? They got 4 more years. How long? Like, you'd have to dig in. And you wonder if there's a personality conflict, if they don't like his degree of intensity, whatever it might be. If they don't think he's not good in the room, but like the mix is not right of the players and the personalities, because he's too good to just be out there with this, by today's standards, very cheap contract. If I was a team, I would be all over the player, but the spidey senses would force you to say, okay, we got to dig into this and say what's going on beyond just, do they want a first rounder or a top prospect? Like, what else is happening? Because he's too good to be this widely available on this kind of deal.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I think everyone's wondering right now, and where he could end up. Buffalo kicking tires, possibly Montreal. The Habs are intriguing to me.
What?
Yeah.
What do you do if you're Buffalo there, Hayes? Like, you have Josh Norris. Maybe it's insurance for his shoulder. You got Ryan McLeod, who's a Stanley Cup winning third-line center. And Tage Thompson, who sometimes plays in the middle, like, you get Robert Thomas to go play with Tage Thompson the first line. I wonder, which would be crazy. The passer and the shooter put Tage Thompson on the wing, but I don't know. They have 3 pretty good centers there in Buffalo.
Like, do they know Tuck's
Let me
leaving?
interject here, Hayes. I think you've disqualified yourself from talking anything positive about the Sabres moving forward after the last 10 years of what I've heard.
No, I've been waiting.
No, you haven't.
I've been waiting, and
if I got a dude, it would be. I think you get fired if I put together a montage of your buff clips.
All of them warranted. All of them warranted at the time.
I know.
You can't pretend like that was a well-run operation.
I know, dude.
It's been a disaster.
I think you
GM
had
of the
some
year.
of your
Kevin Adams.
Kevin Adams, not even there anymore.
Dude, have you ever
15.
seen a situation, Johnny, where the guy who was fired from the team should be sought after? I would hire Kevin Adams like that.
It's insane, because they started this long winning streak before he was fired. I think they won the final 2 games while he was still employed. Yarmo comes in, and now they rip off the best team in the league. And I was having this conversation with someone. When you get like 6 weeks out, you start thinking, who could win the Stanley Cup, or who could meet in the Stanley Cup? Feels like the Central guys are clearly. But like in the East, Tampa's the best team. After Tampa, could Buffalo?
You're going after Tampa. You're going to Carolina, and then you're looking at a team like my Sabres.
You're a Sabre.
My Sabres.
You and Pagula have always been.
I remember that about you.
Me and Jerry Pagula go back a long way. Fracking. We fracked together.
You guys used to frack.
Meet
back
the
in
frackers.
You and Jerry at the Anchor Bar talking fracking in the Sabres. Well, listen, the way they are on an all-time heater. They're getting great goaltending. That always is going to factor in. We'll see what that looks like come playoff time. It's a different game come playoff time as well. But, you look at them, you look at Montreal. Like Montreal, it's kind of fascinating. You look at their goaltending statistics. Both of them are sub-900 save percentage, and yet they win all the time. They outscore their problems. You talk about puck movement. You talk about the pace that they play with. Like, they are thoroughly entertaining to watch play. And if it was Buffalo-Montreal in the first round, that would be an electric series. Yeah. Electric series between those two teams. But, with the Habs, I don't know, Johnny. I mean, they dipped their toe in the water last year. They got some playoff experience. Didn't go great. I thought they played well against Washington, though. They felt like those were all one-score games, overtime games, close games. I think Montreal could put their hands up. Like, if they can figure out the goaltending. Like, I know Dobish wins all the time, but there's something about him I don't know if I love in the playoffs. Montembeault, the same thing. But if you can get a good goalie, why can't Montreal be at least in the second round?
Yeah, 100%. And I think, one about the goaltending, though, Hayes, they're in a bit of a bind because I think they believe they have their goalie of the future in Jacob Fowler. Mm-hmm. So, are you going to go trade for Jordan Binnington or something? No, because I think next year they think Fowler will be the guy and be the guy going forward for the next foreseeable future. So I don't know if you want to waste assets that way. What makes it so appealing for them, again, take Tampa aside, they're going to run up against Buffalo or Detroit or, Pittsburgh or the Islanders, some weird crossover. There's Tampa and Carolina right now in the playoffs and a whole bunch of teams that are not the usual suspects. There's not even a Toronto who has at least been there many times, or certainly not a Florida. Boston was outlined. There's a whole bunch of teams that don't have great experience and success. So if you're Montreal, we have every bit as much experience as those guys in the playoffs. So why couldn't it be them? And I do believe, you say it's a different game. I believe Suzuki and Caulfield, maybe smaller, maybe offensive, they got no problem in a playoff series. Maybe Florida makes it tough on them, but playing Buffalo, I don't think they're getting pushed out of playoff hockey. Their player, Demidov, those guys are good players, big time players. Slavkovsky, huge, they got some holes, but so do everyone. And the opportunity, which is what makes Friday so interesting. How much do teams try to grab onto the opportunity this year in the East? Because again, take Tampa out of it, everything else. Pittsburgh's got home ice right now.
Right.
Pittsburgh would think they're even money to get to the conference final.
Yep.
It's wild.
Right. It is. Yeah, it is. I don't know. I mean, the goaltending is always a separator. That's why Vasilevsky, the way he's playing right now. But you look at the other teams in the Atlantic. I mean, again, we talked about Montreal. Buffalo, we'll see. Detroit, we'll see. Swayman's
Gibson got hurt yesterday.
Exactly. That's trouble. Sorokin is red hot, and he's great. And if he's on a heater, Vasilevsky and Sorokin are kind of on an outlier. The other guys, I don't know. Stuart Skinner going to just be unbelievable in the playoffs for Pittsburgh. How would that go over, Strud? Let's say Skinner is dominant and goes on a cup run in Pitt. How do people respond in the capital of Alberta?
It'd be tough, and then you got Kulak in Colorado, right? Mm-hmm. So two guys that were pretty important to your runs. That's a hard one.
Yeah.
Well, is Jari taking heat out? What's the vibe out there with him? It can't be solid. His coach called him out the other day, and they give up a 5 spot. And I mean, it's Noodles' off day, and we get to rip goalies. They're giving up 5 spots every night.
It's tough, but I understand. Johnny came in. I really think that they're struggling defensively, and they got to figure that out. But I guess, Johnny, looking at the Pacific Division, it's not the most robust group, No. So if I'm Vegas, Vegas has a couple issues. I think maybe one's in the net, maybe their
more
team's
than a
got to
couple.
be better. But how aggressive are you if you're Vegas, knowing that you're probably 2 rounds before you run into what so far looks like a robust competition in the Central Division winner?
Yeah, you're right. Although Vegas right now against Utah, that's a toss-up to me. Utah is terrible. Vegas is no good. And if you just do a quick little search on Vegas's record, teams in the playoffs, teams out of the playoffs. They can't beat good teams. They never beat good teams.
They're the Raptors
of
the NHL.
They're the 5th best team in the West because they beat all the teams below them and beat none of the teams above them. So, I think Utah is a dangerous team in that bracket. But yeah, like I think Vegas will be aggressive because they have to be, but not with their goaltenders. Goalies are tricky this time of year. Can anyone think of a deadline goalie move that paid dividends? I could barely think of one. Goalies don't get traded at the
Dwayne
deadline, so
Rolison.
I don't know.
Dwayne Rolison with Oilers.
Oh,
but that's
Edmonton,
been
06.
a while now, right?
Is that right? 06?
It's been a bit.
Yeah. I mean, you're right, Johnny. It's difficult to.
It's rare.
Yeah, like St. Louis went out and got Ryan Miller years ago. It didn't work out. Like big swings.
Should Toronto trade one of their goalies today or this week?
You got to make a choice on them, right? Like Hildeby's.
Right? You lose one of them, right? Hildeby's waivers not exempt next year, so you wonder if they're considering that as well. And if you're Vegas, you're like, oh, Stolarz, he's an upgrade on what we have right now, or whoever it might be. I wonder.
Yeah, I think you're onto something there. All right, Johnny. Well, we'll see, man. By Friday, we're going to have some answers, but we'll see you for Trade Center. We're looking forward to it.
All right, boys. Now, what time are you guys showing up at on Friday?
Bright and early, man. I'll be there.
Are you 8 a.m.
6:30?
start time?
Buddy, I'll be on the treadmill at 4 a.m. and I'll be in there for 7, and I'm not kidding. Freddie, I'm not kidding.
Humble brag.
4 a.m.?
Totally unnecessary.
kidding.
Why don't you just run to the studio from your house? Do it.
That's fair.
I will
Great
do that
call.
one day. I will do that one
Okay.
day.
Send a video.
I like it. I'm going to try to roll in there, guys, by like 10. All right? So hold it down for a
Hopefully,
couple
Johnny.
hours.
Hopefully, Johnny, I have a running partner that's a little more loyal than to man with the headset on. I did a marathon with him, and I had to piss at a Subway, and he just said, I'm leaving, I'm not staying. And he left.
That's true. I mean, not 100% accurate.
Hang on, a
It was
marathon?
Like
You did a
5K
full
run.
marathon?
No, it was not a marathon.
Oh.
Dude, what are you
It was
lying?
a 5K run.
Dude, it was
5K
10.
family run?
It was
It was
10K.
10.
It was a 10K.
It was a 10K.
It was down the
10K
baby
turkey
extension.
trot takes 45 minutes. Like, what are we talking about here?
Dude, it was all downhill. This is how pathetic the two of us were. They were opening up traffic after we got through. Like, the police were right
Don't
behind
you do
us.
me dirty. Don't you do me
That's the
dirty
truth.
like. Don't you do me
That's
dirty.
awesome.
Dude,
It was
bringing up
it
the
was
rear.
20 minutes in, and I looked back and I saw a cop car with the sirens on, and the worst conditioned people in the marathon. And I said, Hazy, we got to get boogieing. We cannot be associated with the end of the
We
marathon.
were the end. Like,
Yeah.
literally down the Bayview extension, they're like, all right, we got to clear this open, man. It's Sunday morning. People are trying to get around, and O and I are the reverse pace car for the infrastructure of the city opening up. And then 20 minutes in, this guy's like, I got to go to the washroom. I'm like, I'm out of here, dude.
God.
This is
Well,
so
I would do that.
embarrassing.
20 minutes. That is
Yeah.
horrific.
That's
Like,
insane.
are you the person that goes to the washroom on the airplane the second the bell chimes? Like, that is
Dude, you have not.
fireable
Yes.
offense.
Yes.
Fire to the
I go
moon.
as soon. I
annoying.
I ask the ladies if I can go right away before we take off, and as soon as that seatbelt's on, like I've already got one hand on the latch.
Oh, my
One
God.
hand.
Oh, my
I could
God.
see you two guys running that turkey trot with trail mix in your pockets. Like,
Yeah.
just to refuel.
There was food. There was food. For sure there was food. There were guys running that thing in 37, 38 minutes. O and I came through like $1.20 or something.
No,
It
dude, I was
pathetic.
235.
Yeah, it was pathetic.
I basically had to walk a lot.
Yeah, it was a walk-in. There's video of it somewhere out there. We'll find it.
Yeah, please do.
All right, Johnny.
That's amazing.
Well, you've
All right,
inspired
fellas,
us.
we'll see you Friday morning.
To start running.
Not too early.
Yeah, we'll see you
Good
Friday
luck.
morning
Good luck,
around
Johnny.
10 a.m. There he is, Mike
I'll need it,
Johnson.
Struddy. Thanks.
Joining us here on the Maple Toyota Hotline. Red Tag Days are here with the all-electric Toyota BZ. Goes from 0 to 100 in just 5.1 seconds and charges from 10 to 80% in just 30 minutes. Dropped by Maple Toyota today. We really should get back hit and get the rubber to the road here, man, and start running again, and maybe do another
When was
10K.
this?
Dude,
When did you guys do this?
It was
Recently?
called the Running Room 10K or Sporting Check
Sporting
10K.
Life or something. It was couching
When
to
was it?
10K is what it was at least 8 years ago.
Oh.
Yeah, it was
That's,
back
Yeah,
in
it
our
was
I thought
prime.
this just happened.
Back in our prime. It was a long time ago.
Dude, if it's soon, let's do it again.
It's in May, I think.
Let's go. Me and
That's
you.
a great thing.
You want to start building towards it? All right. I got to start doing
Dude, it's something to set your sights on, man. We
great.
got a
I
lot
love
of
it.
time from now
Okay.
until the new 10K marathon.
We can get we can place odds on this. We can get timestamps. Like, we could do a lot for this.
We could get FanDuel involved to get some odds on our times.
I think they could put a number on us.
Inspire all your listeners, man. Like, maybe the people want to join you to be out there.
Yeah, you're right. All right, let's look into it. I got to get moving, man. I got to get moving. I like where this is going.
But, dude, you're like my buddy Liler. You're a freak of nature. He could not jog for a year and go out and run 30K for fun.
Yeah.
You're a gazelle. You're a natural.
I don't know if I'm a natural in long distance. I could get up and sprint right now, and you'd be shocked by the athletic ability that I have. Yes. Like you did your little 40-yard dash.
Dude, you're long and lanky. Like, you have no body muscle. Where are you going in a hurry?
I can move. I can move a little bit. I'm telling you, I can move.
You can't move.
Confirm or deny coming up. Best bet still to come. OverDrive continues up on TSN 4.
The BKT World Women's Curling Championship on TSN.
I can neither confirm or deny that this is in fact a segment.
Boston trades Andrew Raycroft to Toronto in exchange for the rights to Tuukka Rask.
It's been my honor and a privilege to serve as the general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs Hockey Club.
It's time for Confirm or Deny.
Do you regret giving all those gentlemen the no trades or no movement clauses?
Well, I can neither confirm or deny that.
I can't confirm or deny.
All right, Confirm or Deny brought to you by Boston Pizza, Canada's favorite sports bar. Enjoy $15 lunch at BP where you get an entree, a side, and a drink, and you'll get it all in 20 minutes or less. A fast lunch doesn't have to be fast food. See you for a $15 fast lunch at your local Boston Pizza. All right, people are already trying to ask for a Confirm or Deny on whether or not the O-Dog and I will actually do something that we claimed we might do on the show.
Dude, I'm all in. And by the way, something really is, and I remember at the time you bringing this up, our old producer sent us the pic of us, and I remember you looking at me saying, why are you wearing those tight sweatpants for a marathon?
Yeah.
I had these weird green sweatpants on, and it was... And I had a John Gibson.
I think we need to post it.
No, dude, I had a Gibby, like I had a Gibby Blue Jays, like short. It was just.
Yeah, Blue Jay tarp. I vividly remember because it was just off Bloor. It started. You know, if you're from Toronto, you know where the like Bayview Extension goes down, and it's you know, I don't think we were down Mount Pleasant. I don't. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We're just south of Rosedale, kind of through Rosedale, and you run down to the city, down through the lakeshore. And I remember placing eyes on this guy and just thinking, "What are you doing?" Like,
I know
we're about to partake in like an athletic endeavor here.
I know. I had these like olive green sweatpants.
Yeah, weird tarp on. It was the weirdest look ever for a 10K run.
Yeah,
did you get the thigh rash?
Oh my God!
There it is.
What?
Look at this guy.
Yeah, those sweatpants were so tight and restrictive. I'm not blaming my effort on that. And then I needed the Gibby thing over top of a hoodie. And I'm like, I am so. I remember Hayes looking at me and like. We were fast friends already at that time, but he was like, why are you wearing that? And I'm like, what do you mean? It's kind of cold. And it's just a weird vibe.
Yeah.
Like Look at the guys behind you. They have shorts on, athletic shirts, like they're ready to go.
There was guys that we knew that we were associated with that ripped home 6 beers before they took off and then ran the thing in like 12 minutes.
Right. Right. Yeah, we were there with other guys, and they're like, we'll see you down there.
Crushing pints, and then they took off.
Yes. And drinking beers afterwards, and the two of us, man. It was like the tortoise and the hare, but the tortoise never caught up. You know what I mean? Like, it was just, they had beers in them, and they still just blew past us.
Yeah. How long do you guys need to train? Like, what's the preparation for this? 2 months?
I'll be good to go.
April,
he's in good shape. Like, O's moving. He's got, he gets up in the morning and does stuff. I need a little bit of time.
You don't need anything. You know what you did the last time we did this? You didn't do anything, and you showed up and you did pretty good.
Yeah,
but he's older
now.
Did
nothing. I am older.
You might have went around your block, I think you said twice, and you're like, so basically I did nothing.
Right. Although if that was in 2017, that's when I blew my knee out in the fall.
No, dude, your knee was completely fine.
I might have had a wonky knee at that point.
Your knee was after that marathon.
That's what I'm saying, though. I wonder if I had a bad knee, like a bad meniscus at that point. And maybe that kind of expedited the problem, and then it blew out like 3 or 4 months later. Anyway. All right, confirm or deny. Where the hell am I going here? I got to find confirm or deny.
You're going for a run. That's what you're going for.
I need to go. I need to get going. You're right. I got to get the body moving here. All right, confirm or deny. The Maple Leafs will acquire at least one first-round pick before the trade deadline.
100%
one
confirmed.
First-round pick.
100% confirmed because it's mandatory, Hayes. Like this is something that they desperately need to acquire. The thing is, how they do that, I'm really not sure, but I'm going to 100%. Maybe it's hoping that I'm giving this percentage.
That's it. Like, is Bobby McMahon getting a first? Is Ekman Larson?
I think if Bobby McMahon would retrieve a first, it would have already been done right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too.
Good point. Yeah, I'm going to deny it. I just don't know who that would be for. I mean, Bobby McMann at half price, that's getting pretty cheap. He's already cheap, right? Maybe there's some value there. But I think they'll get some picks. I think they'll get quite a few, actually.
Yeah. I'll confirm it that it could be a package deal. Like it could be Ekman Larson and McMahon.
Yeah.
And they eat money on it. And, like even you look at a team that might have to unload a pick. Like I don't know if Edmonton's still in it. But if Mangiapane is coming the other way, you got to pay a price for that. Like it better be a first if you're taking that. Something I could see a scenario like that where the Leafs eat something, then buy it out, and they get some, a pick or something in return. So I will confirm it because without their first-round pick, it's hanging over everything on top of the losing. All right, confirm or deny. We got the Arnie Palmer this weekend and the Players next weekend. Confirm or deny Shane Lowry will finish top 5 in one of the next 2 events.
No, I'm sorry. I think he's got some emotional damage control to take care of. After the right shot on 16 and 17 consecutively, like that guy doesn't make double bogeys ever, man. Like,
no.
He grinds and he gets up and down for bogey and he just grinds. He must be shocked right now. I can't imagine how many beers he hammered after that round.
Well, you nailed it, man. He was 40 minutes real time away from 6 or 7 celebratory Guinness, and it flipped to a 2-6 of Irish whiskey.
Yeah.
And leave me alone in a black room and don't talk to me. That's how much it flipped. And you know what? You make a great point that I don't think has been brought up enough. The up and down on 16 was miraculous. That should have been a triple, dude. He hit that ball into the bunker. It was like short-sighted. He was on a weird lie. He flipped that thing to like 4 feet and rolled the putt in. He could have easily chunked that or sculled it past because he was really steaming.
Yeah.
I'm concerned you're right that this guy, because he plays Florida golf so well. He's a guy that's competitive. But I'm going to unfortunately deny it as well. I just think this is going to shock this guy into a bad place.
Yeah. Like, dude, that we talked about it yesterday. That shot on this tee shot right here, it almost went foul ball into the guy's backyard on the other side of the water.
Yeah. Shocking.
Dude,
shocking
look, that's
shot.
2 feet from the seaweed going on land.
That's with an 8-iron in his hand.
God.
Crazy.
Like the mental problems for golfers with like performance, that's honestly, unfortunately, how they start. It's like I had a tournament in my hands and I sharted on 16, I shart on 17, and you lose the tournament.
Yeah. And he hasn't won since the Open. Like he won the doubles tournament down in New Orleans, but that doesn't count.
Well, it does. It does.
It does,
With
but
Rory.
it's Rory. It was him and McIlroy. I mean, as an individual player, he hasn't won since 2019 at Portrush, which is crazy, on the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
Strud, do you have more faith than we do that Lowry can get up off the mat?
I deny it too. I think it takes time to heal, right, from that type of situation because he looked very uncomfortable striking those shots, and that's a bad feeling when a pro is uncomfortable taking that shot.
And they're great fields too, right? Like Scheffler's back, and all the big boys are playing, man. So to be top 5, it's going to be tough anyway. Confirm or deny, Max Scherzer will make 15 or more starts for the Blue Jays this season.
I'm going to confirm that, Hazy. I'm going to confirm it strongly, too.
Wow.
I think sometimes when you might be at the end of the line and you're just kind of free, where I think there was some money involved last year, and there even at his age, I think there was some like Max Scherzer type expectations, although they might have been unwarranted. They were kind of still there. And this year, he might just be like, I'm going out and I'm just going to let it rip, and I don't really feel any stress or pressure. And he just might be good, man. Who knows? I think it's a long shot answer. It's a long shot theory, but it could happen, and I'm going to go with it.
Yeah, I'm going to deny it, and I hope I'm wrong. I mean, that moment in the playoffs last year when he's like, "Wow, wow," and yelling, like I love that. I love that moment. I want to see more of that. But I think he has to be not sparingly used, so he can be used in special moments, and it worked kind of last year. So they've got so many arms. I have a hard time seeing him get into the regular rotation for that reason.
Well, he had 17 starts last year, which it probably would surprise most Blue Jay fans because he didn't pitch the first 3 months of the year, give or take. And then by the end, it got really ugly for him. Like his numbers were really bloated. But he said he'll be ready for opening day. He's a grinder. You know, if he avoids injury, I'm going to confirm. You know, because we talked about it yesterday. What are they going to do with Savage? How many innings are they going to let him pitch? When is Bieber going to be available to them? Are they going to trust Barrios? Does Cody Ponce just automatically transition back into the major leagues? I don't know. I mean, I got a pretty good idea what Gosman's going to be. I got a pretty good idea what Cease is going to be. They're going to pitch. Anyway, I don't know what their numbers are going to be, but every fifth day those guys are going to go. I think everything beyond that is up in the air, and Scherzer, he's got an opportunity to plug himself in. So I will confirm it, and that might be being overly optimistic, but I'm going to confirm it.
I was watching that Cody Ponce the other day. You know what he looks like? What's that show about that pitcher that comes back and he's kind of a comedian and he's got
Kenny Powers.
Kenny Powers.
He does look like Kenny Powers.
Yeah, what's the show? Eastbound
and Down.
Yeah, Eastbound and Down. Yeah, that as soon as I saw him, I'm like, oh my god, that's who he looks like.
Yeah,
what is he?
Right.
El Fuego or something? El Fuego Blanco, he called himself or something like that. Like
he's got the curly mullet going.
It's unreal how much he looks like him.
It's a great comparison because that's Danny McBride. Like that's one of the great comedy shows ever. Good. Eastbound and Down. It is so good. I might have to go back and watch that because the whole Kenny Powers vibe is just phenomenal. I would take that. If Cody Ponce can bring that type of an attitude to the Blue Jays, we'll take it. We'll take Kenny Powers. All right. There you go. Confirmed and denied. Brought to you by Boston Pizza. We got a couple more that we'll get to throughout the week, including where the Canucks stand moving forward because it just gets uglier and uglier every single day. And, yeah, you look at the top teams and the way they're playing. Colorado won. Dallas won. You know, Minnesota wins every night. It feels like it. So we kind of know who's going to be buying, and we got a good idea who's going to be selling come Friday. All right, Best Bets coming up. Raptors back in action tonight. Oilers, Sens tonight. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on YouTube Live.
Thursday on TSN 1050. Your Toronto Maple Leafs take on the New York Rangers in their final game before the NHL trade deadline. Coverage starts at 6 p.m.
Matthews scores!
Hear it all on TSN 1050. The Leafs live here. Now, back to OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
All right, Best Bets powered by FanDuel. Make your picks and assemble a same-game parlay in seconds on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. I'm not going to touch the Raptor game. Knicks -3 at Scotiabank. The play is the Knicks. That's just the play, unfortunately. But the spread would suggest, FanDuel, everyone's waiting for the Raptors to finally get one, right? Finally get one. They just don't beat these good teams. But I'm looking at the NHL board tonight. I need to take Buffalo at home against Vegas. And what's going to be interesting tonight is Tage Thompson. They're back home. He's going to get the gold medal ovation from the home crowd. Jack Eichel, is he going to get an ovation tonight in
Why
Buffalo?
not? Move on. Move on.
Yeah,
they're rolling.
What's wrong with Jack Eichel? They wanted to move him because of the neck surgery stuff, and I'm sure he wanted out too. I mean, I don't know the whole dynamic.
He wanted out too. I think that's pretty clear.
Okay, he wanted out, but it was a weird situation. Guy won a gold medal for the country. Why wouldn't you celebrate that? Might not be the warmest ovation, but who knows? Everyone's so fake offended these days. God knows what could happen.
Well, Noah Hannafin will be there too, right? He can step in and kind of maybe they're booing me. He can claim they're booing him tonight instead of Jack. But yeah, I think it'll be electric in Buffalo, man. It'll be sold out. That town is ready to rock.
Dude, think about that. How many times when you float through games have you said, "Yeah, I'll stop in and check out Buffalo, Vegas"?
Got to see it now. They're one of the most entertaining teams in the league.
Now, it's been 10 years since you stopped at Buffalo.
Yes.
Usually you're like, "Oh my God, what is that? 5-0 right now?"
Mm-hmm. Especially this time of year. Maybe early on you want to see Darlene. Is Owen Power going to fit?
And Hazy, that's kind of the sad thing. We all kind of had to watch last night. If you tuned into that Leaf game and watched for 15 minutes, you might have just said no thanks.
100%.
It was a terrible game.
If you're not a Leaf or Flyer fan, no one was watching last night. Nobody. No middle, objective hockey. I just love the game, and I live in Denver. I'm going to check. No one's checking that game out.
No.
and deservedly so, and understandably so. Best Bets powered by FanDuel. Same-game parlays around the NHL. Available on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Please play responsibly. 19+, physically located in Ontario. Getting pretty good value on the Sens tonight, too, Strud. And they've been playing well, man. They have played really well defensively. They make it very tough on their opposition. So we'll see what kind of game Edmonton wants to play tonight.
Well, I've been keep saying it. Every 10 games, they're going to reset. The Oilers are going to reset and become the defensive team that we know they can be, and we haven't seen it yet, right? And they can score, and I know the Ottawa's a good defending team, but it doesn't matter if the Oilers score. If they don't defend well, Ottawa's going to score as well, and now you're in a shootout, and that's the last thing you want. So they've got to reset here defensively.
Absolutely. All right, Strud, great seeing you, buddy. Thank you for doing this. As always.
Let me know what the run is. I'll fly in for the run.
All right, we'll let you know, man. We're going to lock in the details this week. High priority for us. High priority. All right, thanks to everyone behind the scenes for hopping out. We appreciate it. Everyone for tuning in today. TV, radio, podcast, web, and up on YouTube Live. Every show up on TSN's YouTube channel. We're out of here. Enjoy your evenings. Enjoy the games tonight. We're back tomorrow at...
This year during the marathon, it's my turn to dust you. 4 p.m.?
We'll chat then.